This video response is going to go out to Bass FZZ, and that's because you uploaded a video entitled The Double Standard of Having Standards Part 2. Now, I actually responded to the first part of your video series, and I eagerly awaited your response. But I figured that 4 months was long enough to wait. That's why I'm uploading this particular video. Furthermore, the reason I didn't respond quickly to the second part of your video series was due to the fact that I'm educating over 700 people all around the world. And that does tend to take up a lot of my time. However, today I was able to squeeze in just a little bit of time to respond to this particular video. That's right, I'm responding to this video today. And in the near future, whenever I get a chance like this again, I will respond to parts 3 and 4 of your video series. So bear with me, it's coming. Okay. Anyway, let's go on with this particular video. You said that the girl you were attracted to liked someone else that you thought wasn't nice. Now, I'm being polite here. As you well know, I am not very fond of expletives or derogatory statements. Okay? If you want to use them, that's fine. I just don't approve of either one. Okay? And I would appreciate it if you wouldn't use those kind of statements in any video response that you give to me. Yes, I do tend to set the rules, and this is the rules. Okay, let's go on here. Now, the question I have for you is this. How do you define a not nice person? And more importantly, how does she define a not nice person? Think about that. Her definition of a not nice person and your definition of a not nice person may not be the same. Have you ever talked to her about this? Have you ever discussed this with her? Think about it. Okay. Now then, here's my next question to you. Are you absolutely sure that the only reason why she didn't like you was because of one single attribute? Maybe there were other attributes that she saw within you that she didn't particularly like, but she didn't want to tell you that. Have you ever confronted her on this? Have you said, is there anything else besides this one particular attribute that you didn't like about me? Ever thought about that? Maybe she'll tell you, maybe she won't. That's at her discretion. But certainly it's something for you to think about. Okay. Now then, you were talking about this lady that was reciting this poem. Do you think that this lady reciting this poem always looked the way she did in that particular video? Really? I don't think so. And just because you think she's pretty, that automatically means that every guy in the world thinks she's pretty? I think she's pretty, but that doesn't mean that every guy all over the world thinks she's pretty. There may be lots of guys in her life that think that she's butt ugly. We don't know. We don't know all the guys in her life. And we don't know what they think either. So there goes your argument all to pieces. All right. And you're honestly saying that you know enough about her life to know whether there has ever been a guy in her life that has completely rejected her. Maybe there have been guys in her life that have rejected her. Maybe there was more than one. Think about that. And even if every guy in the world liked how she looks, maybe she has friends that guys thought were butt ugly and treated them like they were butt ugly. And this inspired her to create and recite this particular poem on that particular video. Maybe she wasn't so much defending herself, but maybe she was defending some of her friends. Think about that for a second. Did you ever take that into consideration? Probably not. Okay? So, now I'm not really sure where you've been, but I know many guys who expect absolute perfection from their female companions. And when they don't get that level of perfection, they get pretty enraged. So I would suggest you meet more people before you make such a blanketed statement. because it just doesn't hold water, especially not to me. Okay? Now, I will grant you, and I agree with you, that there are some ladies who have certain expectations for guys. And some of these expectations are rather extreme. And in that respect, they are no better than Nash Grier. I'll agree with you on that. But Nash Grier's video was not about what he wanted in a lady. It was a blanketed reference to what all guys want in ladies. He doesn't speak for me. He doesn't speak for my friends. He obviously doesn't speak for you either. So why are you defending him? Doesn't make a tiniest bit of sense. And that's my point. And that's what these ladies were objecting to. They were objecting to this constant stream of blanketed statements that Nash Grier was making. Nash Grier doesn't speak for me, nor my friends, nor for many members of my YouTube audience. He doesn't speak for any of us. And that's what these ladies were trying to tell you. The blanketed statements that Nash Grier was giving in his particular video was just deplorable. That's all it was. Period. Now, I will agree with you that every human being has certain expectations for their spouses. Not always are they met, but they do have them. Even I have a few expectations. I'm not going to state them here, but I do have them. And I'm sure that anybody that would want to get involved with me would probably have certain expectations for me too. And I might not meet all of those. That's fine. No human being is ever going to meet all the expectations of their spouse. They might meet some of them, but not all of them. I will also say that being obnoxious, loud, and crazy doesn't make you anything other than an annoying human being. That's all it does. Okay? This labeling thing, I don't agree with that labeling thing at all. Just because you're annoying doesn't make you a bad person either. Okay? Just makes you annoying. Well, annoying doesn't necessarily mean bad, it just means annoying. You can either overcome it, or you just don't associate with that particular person. Let's just go on. Now, that one lady was correct in her video. You can't change a person. However, you could try to inspire them to change themselves. Something you may say or do might inspire them to be more like what you want them to be. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but it might happen. You might say something or you might do something that might inspire them to be something more than what they are. Just by watching you snowboard, they might get inspired to join you in snowboarding, especially if they see how fun it might be. See what I mean? If they see that having a particular attribute makes them a better person, they may want to have that attribute. They may desire it so much that they may ask you how to acquire such an attribute. And that's always a good thing. It might happen, it might not happen. It's always a gamble. But if you're a gambling type of guy, there you go. Okay? Now, the next lady you're referring to, she had a right to be upset. Instead of using words of encouragement to motivate women to attempt to meet the expectations of Nash Grier and his friends, they were just bashing women all over the place throughout their entire video. And if you can't detect that, well, I feel for you. I really do. Alright. Furthermore, her disappointment in Nash Grier does not invalidate her argument. Her whole argument was sound. She was just very disappointed in seeing those particular attributes out of Nash Grier and his friends. And I know I was disappointed as well. So there you go. So, now normally I try to be polite here, but I don't see any other way to be polite on this one. But you seem to think that all ladies are sluts? Okay, if not, you need to define to me and to your audience which ladies you think are sluts and why you think they're sluts. Define that. Please, I'd love to hear it. Okay? Now, what the next lady was saying in her video is that what she looks for in boys is not what all ladies look for in boys. There's the difference. She's not a hypocrite because she's saying these are the things that I look for in boys. Okay? There's a big difference between saying this is what I look for in boys and then making massive blanketed statements that Nash Grier was making. And he was making one after the next, after the next, after the next. And if you couldn't see that, you're the one that's blind. Period. Okay. Now then, you find discussions entertaining. Well, it all depends on what you're discussing. If you're discussing fluff, it isn't that entertaining. And besides, their point was the guy, if he wants to be entertained, should start something entertaining. He should initiate the entertainment, not expect it out of the lady. And when he initiates the entertainment, usually she'll follow suit. She'll want to be a part of that. Then it becomes a mutual thing. If these guys want these ladies to be entertaining, start the entertainment and they'll join in. That's the way it works. And yes, Nash Grier did point out one problem with society, which was body image. And that is a great big problem in our society today, especially with airbrushing. And if you miss that, well, you're terribly blind. Anyway, about this point, I was getting to the point, it's like, I'm drained. I am absolutely drained by watching your video. That was just draining me. So I'm just going to cut it right here. I would comment on the last 5 minutes of your video, but I'm sitting here going, man, haven't I stated enough? So anyway, that is the end of this particular video response to you. Hopefully, you will actually take the time and respond back to me. I would love to see what you have to say about what I just said. That'll be quite amusing to me. You say you like intellectual conversations? Well, here's the biggest one you'll ever have. Come on. Let's hear what you have to say. I'd love to hear it. Alright. I will tell you more in a future video, so I want you to stay tuned.